Welcome everybody to the European Wrestling Podcast, and today my guest is Gianni Valletta, a great European wrestler from Malta, and he's also making a hell of a career in Japan, and it's a pleasure to have here my friend, great wrestler, Gianni Valletta.
European Wrestling Podcast.
Hi Gianni, how you doing? It's a great pleasure to have you here at the European Wrestling Podcast. How you doing today, man?
Hey, brother. All good. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's my
Appreciate it.
pleasure. It's my pleasure too, because you're one of those guys that I've been following for years, and I also had the pleasure to have you here in my show Pro Wrestling Live events a couple of times, and so you are the one that I really wanted to have in this podcast because your story is
Thank you,
really.
man.
Your story is really interesting. You're now making your career, especially in Japan, but we will cover that later. I would like to start from the very beginning. So I was growing up in Malta. So how was growing up there? How was wrestling in your childhood? How was?
Just like I think many other wrestling fans and wrestlers, I started watching wrestling as a kid. I remember, I think I was around 8 years old. I used to watch on the Italian TV on a Sunday morning. I remember I used to watch it with my grandpa, like after church. I used to run back home because I just wanted to see wrestling, you know. And I remember the first guy that really got me hooked was The Undertaker. God damn, all his larger than life persona and everything he used to do was just bigger than life itself, you know. So that was the start, you know. But then after a couple of years, you start appreciating more the sport and the art of wrestling, and then from there, you know.
So what year was that when you first get into wrestling?
Around, I think, 1998.
I mean, as a fan,
yes.
as a kid.
Yes, when I was 8 years old, 1998, 99 maybe.
Okay. Because, The Undertaker has been around for a while.
Yeah.
When you
Good
say
point.
Undertaker is, okay, when? Because Undertaker has been around for forever, and he has been an inspiration for so many guys in so many different generations. And so, and beside wrestling, I was growing up in Malta. I mean, life in general.
Well, back then, well, now it's changed a lot, but back then, Malta was always very relaxed, you know, place to live, especially from the area I am. It's very calm, you know. We were just 5 minutes from the sea, that lot of countryside around, so it's very a calm life, which I really like, especially now that I'm being on the road a lot. When I come back home for a couple of days, it's just so nice to relax, you know, after being around that hectic life for a while. But being such a small island, opportunities in everything, you know, are limited, especially back then, 10, 15 years ago. So when I was 20 years old, then I decided I needed to go for it, you know. I needed a change in my life as well, but it was time for me to go for it, for my dream, you know, because back here there was no wrestling school. So I said, you know, it's now or never. So I just saved some money, worked hard for a couple of months, saved as much money as I could, and I flew to England, and I started training with UK kid Tom Jones in Varsity Pro down in Portsmouth. Stayed there for a couple of years. He gave me really good basic training, and he really helped me get my first footsteps in the professional wrestling, you know.
Well, you took the right decision to spend at least 2 years there. Because, for example, myself, I've been in Canada for starting wrestling, but I only went there I was there just for 4 months.
Okay.
And when I came back, like I said many times in this podcast, I had the tools. I mean, I had the in-ring skill, but zero knowledge in psychology because I didn't
Exactly.
learn that yet, because in 4 months they can't teach you everything.
Yes.
So they focus a lot on chain wrestling and then the moves and the technique, and it takes time to get ready for a match. And I left before I was ready for, and because of that I pretty much lost a couple of years, because then I was wrestling around here in Europe, but I had no idea what I was doing.
Exactly.
And so if there's anybody else that wants to go somewhere for training overseas or whatever, just make sure you're gonna spend at least a year.
Yes,
Because,
exactly. Yeah, because
less than that, you're not gonna learn enough, and also if you spend at least 1 year, you can also start wrestling around beside the
Exactly.
training itself.
Just make contacts and just
Exactly.
put your name around. But like you said, psychology is very important. But I still do believe that a lot of the psychology, you get that by learning it on the road, doing as many shows and being in front of as many crowds as possible, and even
Yep.
just by watching a lot of wrestling, because you learn so much from that as well,
Yeah, but you also need to know how to learn. I mean, I can
Exactly.
watch
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same match that I used to watch 10 years ago, and now I can see it completely
Yes,
with different
exactly.
eyes.
Uh-huh.
And same thing for shoot interviews or book. If I reread a book I read 10 years ago, now it's different because I have different knowledge. So I think it's the same thing when you're studying wrestling, watching some matches.
Uh-huh.
If you go over the same match that you've already seen maybe 10 times, but now
Yes, you see details that you didn't notice back in the
yeah,
first time when you watched it.
because you didn't know what you need to looking
Exactly.
for. And so, like you said, you train in UK, and I guess you also start wrestling there.
Yeah, I did. I did wrestle for a while there as well. Nothing major, because I was still still very green and stuff. But I did a couple of matches. Yes. Actually, I stayed there in England for around 4 years before I returned back to Malta. But I didn't do as much wrestling shows back when I was living there. There weren't many opportunities, and our coach, he preferred us to stay more with the group, if you know what I mean. He did
Yeah.
offer us opportunities, but not as very to guys he knew would only benefit from,
Yeah. And so, any memories of your first match? I mean, first match in front of the crowd.
Oh yeah, I remember it was a weekend for the camps, the UK camps. I'm sure you heard about those. It was up in Wales, actually. So I don't remember exactly the place, but it was a fun stuff. I mean, probably I don't have footage of the match, but probably if I would watch, I'd be like,
Well, that's the same for everybody.
But I mean, I was really proud of myself, because I finally I got the chance, after around 10 months of training, I got the chance to be in the ring and wrestle in front of a crowd, which everyone was that's what they aim and work hard for, That was great. It was good fun. It was I was in the ring with one of the trainees as well, so we kind of knew each other as well, so that made it a bit more comfortable, easy on not being so nervous and stuff. Which I was still nervous, but made it a little bit more easier,
And to myself, something that really made a difference is that I felt like for the first 10 years of my career, I didn't really enjoy wrestling. And I like wrestling, but I mean, when I was in the ring, I was always concerned about something may be wrong. I may forgot something, or I was more nervous and concerned about that. Then when since I started teaching guys, I also reteach myself and get some confidence back, and take a next step. And now it's completely different. Now I actually like more relaxed, and I also enjoy more the match. I don't know if you reached that point yet, or how long did take you to reach that point where you actually go out there and just do it, just enjoy, just don't worry about
that's
it.
The word, man. That's the word I was like gonna use. Enjoy and have fun. Like now, one of my mentors now, Tajiri, he taught me this really valuable lesson. Wrestling is fun, you need to go out there, enjoy yourself, and have fun. Because if you're not enjoying yourself, you're not having fun, then the crowd won't as well. If you are giving out nervous, bad energy, like the people will grab to that. So just need to go out there, have fun, relax, and just why are you nervous? And feeling so like agitated. You're out there, you're doing what you love. You're living the dream. So have fun. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly. And one difference that I remember in particular is that back in the days, I couldn't even see the people. Like, I was watching the crowd when I was in the ring, like walking the crowd and everything, but I wasn't really watching them. I could have my mother in the first row and not see it. Because it's like, I don't know if you ever had this experience. It's like if the people is there, but it's like, it's like fake
like
people.
Blurred image. Yes,
exactly,
like
exactly.
Image. Yeah.
And so since I'm more relaxed in the ring, now I can actually see, okay, my friend is here. And I can actually watch the people in the face. That ever happened?
Yeah, and even like, you can notice the emotions, and not just from hearing them. You can notice the emotions of the people, and use that to make the match better,
Exactly. And that's something that was interesting when I finally figure out, hey, I'm actually start seeing people now. So that's good. So yeah. And what year was your first in-ring match in front of people? You said couple of years into your training, or early?
Was that, sorry?
The year where you had your
it was
match.
I think it was around 2011, because I moved to UK end of 2010, November 2010, and I had my first match around September 2011.
Okay. So, and so when you came back to Malta, I guess you figure out that there is nothing here. So what's next? Like, what?
Actually, I moved back because a part of other issues I had. I just wanted to. I knew there was a fan base, and wrestling fan base, and people wanted to wrestle, and I wanted to give back to the sport, to the wrestling. So I just thought I'd give an opportunity to other guys who want to start training in wrestling but don't have the opportunity, So I just wanted to share my knowledge that I had and the connections I had with them, and give them let's say like a starting point, a launching base for them, locally.
And it was the beginning, because for me, for me, it was the same thing. When I came back, there was nothing here, and I had this idea to start promoting and actually have training for a long time, but I was able only to put it together on 2012 I had the first show, 2014 the second show, and then in 2015 I started training people but it took me a while, and at the beginning when I started have this idea, it was really how can I say that, really depressing, if you want, start, because
Uh-huh.
there's nothing. Nobody understands what you're talking about. Nobody cares about wrestling. It's like maybe as a fan, some guys will like to watch wrestling, but when it comes about going around asking for things that you need to put everything together, they really look like they watch like what are you talking about? They
Well,
don't
you
even
mean
know.
you mean the trainees, the people training, or
Everything,
okay,
even when you promote show, you have to explain what you're doing, and
okay.
it's really I guess it was pretty much the same for you in Malta,
Well,
right?
for trainees mainly, people who want to train. Like if they don't really care, then I'm sorry. I mean, I welcome everybody. I try and give. I want to help. And teach anyone who comes through our doors. But if you're not training and you don't really you're coming here just to waste my time and the other trainees' time, then I'm sorry. I mean, what are you doing here? You're
Yeah.
either gonna work hard and train and come here to learn, and we're gonna work all together as a team to not just get better ourselves, but also the person in Malta, the promotion, the school get it better. Um, uh, so yeah, sometimes I think it's better to have a bit less trainees and only have people who really come here to bust their ass and work hard and improve, rather than have a big class and just like half of them come and waste my time. But apart from that, also, and other factors like. Yeah, people like say, "Oh, come on, it's wrestling." I mean, it's what you see on TV, I mean, but just give us a chance. If you are so critical, why don't you come and try it yourself?
Yeah, and also yes, for the sponsors, and when you're looking for a venue, all these things is all you always have to explain what you're doing, and also the interview, mass media, radio, TV, everything. I guess you had to explain everything
Yeah,
every
but
time.
I think that's with everything. If it's something new in the place or country you're starting your business in. But uh, I'm sure many people, like everyone I go to for sponsors or venues or like you said TV and stuff. Everyone knows wrestling, and when you first mention pro wrestling, they get like a cheeky smile on their face. Oh, it's wrestling. But then, you start explaining what you do, like all the where you've been and all that stuff. And then they start, their face change and even the tone of their voice, and they start taking you more seriously. So I guess you just have to be a bit patient and just, don't go in there like all out and just, because it's hard, a lot you're gonna get a lot of no's, but finally, you're gonna keep working hard and just finally you're gonna get those yeses that you need.
Yes, and we will talk about your promotion later on. Now we keep talking about your career, your personal career as a wrestler more than promoter. So as a wrestler, what happened next? So you said you came back to Malta, you start your thing there, and then how did you get into the Japan adventure that you're going back and forth to
All
Japan? You're
right.
really being really successful there. Things are going well for you there. So
Thank
how
you.
was the process to get into the Japan world and
Well, like I always say, on these opportunities, you have to be at the right place at the right time. So
yeah.
I'm grateful for Red Scorpion and Kenzo. I'm sure you know them both. So because the thing is, Red Scorpion and his Bologna wrestling team were bringing Tajiri over, right? Um, um, for
Yeah,
for
Red
for a,
Scorpion.
for a European tour, yes.
Yeah, Red Scorpion
And
defended the title of my promotion against Tajiri.
uh and Kenzo, who's a good friend of Tajiri and a good friend of mine, he said, "Hey man, do you have a show in Malta at the period of time? Maybe you want to bring Tajiri over." I was like, "Oh shit, I don't have a show, but maybe if he's interested in coming for a seminar, so it would be a great opportunity for all of us, here in Malta." And And so yeah, he decided to come over. We were actually on the show together, all of us. You were there as well in Italy.
Yeah.
We did the show. Then he traveled. He is in Tajiri traveled with me to Malta. He did a seminar. And I know. I mean, he told me like he saw something in me. He said, you and your style, could work well in Japan, your size and stuff. So he said, just leave it to me, So he passed a good word for me and with all Japan, and I mean, I owe him my career, I owe him my life. So I was very lucky, So as I said, though, you need to be at the right place at the right time. If I would have said, to Ken about seminar or anything like, maybe we can't afford it or something like that, it would have never happened.
And talking about Japan, how was for you the impact to go there? Was like you expected? Was completely different? I was, resting there. Because you're still resting there, but how
it's huge,
is it?
It's huge. I mean, it's such a different world out there, not just wrestling in the whole Japan, But I love it. I mean, I'm just enjoying every moment I'm there, So, but even I mean, the first time I was very nervous, really nervous, like we were talking before. But and honestly, seeing now, seeing myself as a worker now to when I went there the first time, I don't think I was ready yet for that, but it helped me so much. I improved so much. I see myself, and even like you see your matches and the quality and how you work in during and the feedback from the fans. It helped me, it elevated me to a different level, So I'm grateful to Tajiri and all Japan who helped me, who have given me a career,
Well, Japan definitely seems a great place to work. I remember when I trained with Bob and Devon at the Team 3D Academy in Florida. Sometimes they used to tell some story or even not just funny story, but like learning stuff about Japan and their experience, because they have been many times in Japan, and that was always interesting. I also remember an interview with Hank of the LOD,
okay,
Legion of Doom, and he was telling a story that was in Charlotte at the NWA Fan Fest, and he was doing an interview and he was telling a story about Japan, and he said that actually Road Warriors, when they were building up the Road Warriors to go to Japan, they were cutting this promo about them being really like how can I say that, really nasty guys, having a lot of food, eating all the time. They were cutting promo where they were eating all the time, a lot of chicken and everything. And so when they finally got to Japan after around months of building and promos, they had people giving them food all the time, because they've seen the promo where they were eating 1,000 of kilos of chickens, and so they had people coming, this is for you, this is for you, they had so much food that you can't even imagine. And so he also told many other crazy story about Japan. And so Japan is definitely one of those places that someday I would like to go myself, because
it would be great, man. It would be fun,
Also, the culture, wrestling in Japanese culture, it's something really interesting, and it's something that I took some time to focus on a couple of years ago, because we had a Japanese not show, but like Japanese what's it called, when you have an event where it's all about Japan. So you have people painting, you have people making something. It everything is about Japan. That is the Japan Matsuri that takes place in here in South Switzerland. Okay. And we had our stand, and we were presenting, of course, pro wrestling, and we also had a conference around half hour where we were explaining what wrestling means in Japan, in their culture, and that was pretty interesting. So if we're gonna back again to do this event, maybe you can be our guest and talk about your own experience.
Thank you, man.
Because you speak Italian as well.
Yeah, I do speak Italian.
Yeah, so if you would like to, we can maybe combine, maybe put together an event, wrestling show, and do this Japanese event, put everything together and something. Maybe we can work out something, and that would be interesting. And
I like the idea. It's something different, you know.
And also, besides Japan, there's one more thing that I want to ask about Japan, because obviously, this is not a secret, you really look like Bruiser Brody, and I think Tajiri, that's probably what he saw when he was, thinking about you. So how was the conversation between you and Tajiri, and the fact that you may be the next Brody? Because
okay, well, I don't want to be next Brody. I just want to be the first Valletta, But
of course. But I mean, yeah, the picture of what I'm talking about.
The similarities are there, obviously. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, like Tajiri was like, Valletta, Brody. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so you wrestle like Brody, you look like Brody, so please in the ring, be more like Brody. I'm like, okay, Tajiri-san, whatever you say, I just follow your lead. And that was the conversation, literally, word by word. So, but as I said, I mean, I don't want to be next Brody. I mean, no one can be next Brody. Brody is just legendary. No one can touch him. But yeah, I do take a lot of. I do take some stuff from him, of course, like apart from the look, which is like, yeah, I mean.
I just wasn't talking about the look. Is the way you work, the intensity.
But I like that aggression in wrestling. I mean, that's my style. I'm aggressive. I brawl. I don't do fancy stuff. It's not that I can do. It's just I don't need to. And as a bad guy, it's not my place to do fancy stuff, But it's just I go there for a fight. I'm not there to play around. I just want to like. My idea of being in the ring, I just want to go there and hurt people,
Well, that's the kind of guy that we probably miss around nowadays, because most of the guys, they look alike. So everybody's just, bodybuilding look like everybody's shaved. Everybody looks pretty much the same. And you came out of out of cave. I mean, it's your gimmick is so in contrast to most of the thing that is around today, that is like, wow, wait a second, who's this guy? And it's not just the way you look, but it's also the way you move, you work, and everything you do in the ring, it perfectly fit your looking. And because
means a lot, really.
Because those things has to go together, because
exactly.
It doesn't matter how ugly, in the character way that you look, and then if you work like doing bullshit stuff and have no intensity and just fucking around, and it has to be a beast from the time that the ring, actually before the bell rings, by the time you walk to the curtain to the time that you go backstage, you has to be a beast, a monster, as somebody that is like, that people is afraid for real.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job about that.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. But like you said, you need to, especially the way you look, it needs to, because, the first thing, people see is you coming out of the curtain, so the first impression counts. So if they see you like, in a certain specific way, but then you act differently, then it's like they're like, what's going on here? you know. So yeah, the how you look needs to match who you are in the ring, you know.
Exactly. So, Johnny, we're now gonna take a short break, and then when we come back to European Wrestling Podcast, we will talk about your promotion in Malta, and also I'll let you tell some crazy story because that's how we finish up the podcast. This episode of the European Wrestling Podcast has been provided to you by Pro Wrestling Live Events. Pro Wrestling Live Events is a European promotion based in Switzerland, Lugano. You can check out Pro Wrestling Live Events on YouTube, where you can find over 100 videos, including interviews, highlights, and of course a lot of matches, over 70 matches. Pro Wrestling Live Events is also on Facebook and Instagram. And of course there's the website, prowrestling.ch, where you can find all the links of the videos, a lot of information about the championship, statistics, and info about the next events. And of course, also information about Pro Wrestling Training Ticino, the wrestling academy behind Pro Wrestling Live Events, where a lot of new guys are coming out and starting their career in Europe. So one more time, Pro Wrestling Live Events. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because there's a lot of videos coming.
European Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to the European Wrestling Podcast, and today my guest is Gianni Valletta. Is one of the crazy guy that I like to see in the ring, because what he does is great, and is definitely one of the guys that we need nowadays in professional wrestling. And so, Gianni, we were talking about your experience in Japan, but I also wanted to talk about your experience in Europe itself, because nowadays you travel a lot. You just have been, I guess, in Italy the past weekend.
Yes.
You have been many places, including Switzerland, at the Pro Wrestling Live Events, of course, in my promotion. So how is going your career in Europe, and how do you feel about it? Like, you feel like you're getting a lot of booking and everything is going in the right direction?
Well, I always well, this may sound bad, but well, I'm happy. You know, I have work, which is good. Even like when I'm in Europe, I'm traveling around. Like you said, I was just in Italy, and the weekend before I was in France. So, but of course, I mean, it can always be better, you know. But I enjoy working in Europe. It's refreshing from in Japan, as in Japan's bad way, but you know, because it's a different style. So I always want to keep myself being able to work everywhere, you know, and with each of the places, territories, let's call it like that, styles, you know. And when I'm here in Europe, it's good to catch up with a bunch of friends that I haven't seen in a while. So I mean, like you said, I'm traveling a lot. Life's good. I've traveled. I've worked in 13 countries till now. So hoping to be able to visit a lot more countries, and especially this year, you know. So yeah.
And about Europe, like I said, you came up to my show a couple of times, and the first time it was you wrestled Red Scorpion in the semifinal of the tournament.
Yeah, that Red Scorpion, yeah.
Yeah, you also wrestled Jimmy Gavroche also in the tournament, and so you came here 3 times. Yeah,
exactly, 3 times. Yeah, because then the last time I worked with one of your boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue Fox, right? Something like that.
Exactly. And so for everybody that would like to see these matches, you can check out the Pro Wrestling Live Events on YouTube, or just go straight to prowrestling.ch. You can find all the matches. We now have over 70 matches on the YouTube channel, including the match that I just said. And about the match you had with Blue Fox, which was one of my guys, one of my students, I really appreciate what you did that day, because of course there was a pretty huge different sides between you and him, and he was really green, but you took care of him and you did everything you could possibly do to put him over, and that was definitely a great experience for him to work with you.
It's my pleasure, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad, and I hope he got something from that match, you know. He
definitely
he
got
learned something.
That was great, and we'll see in the future what's going on, if we can work out something else.
Hopefully.
So now let's talk about your promotion, because you also promote in your country, which is not easy. Like I said many times in this podcast, promoting wrestling, it's easy in the way that you just buy a ring and put a bunch of guys together. But if you actually want to do it right, which it means to have when you build up a card, is a card that makes sense. So you have to fit all the guys, put the right opponent against you. So it's not that easy when you want to build up something that lasts in the time that the crowd get into what you're doing. So how was the process to become a promoter? How much did you learn in these years? What's your experience as a promoter, and how is going in Malta?
Well, it started. Our first show was huge, actually. Not that the others weren't, but I wasn't. For the first show, I didn't expect it to be as big as it was, And I did have a couple of guys from Europe come over and help me out, with bringing talent over and even how to structure stuff and camera work, because I had no idea about this stuff. I usually just go there, which was a big mistake from my part. I didn't used to take note of this stuff. How you're on the show, and that everything matters, like photographers and videographers and music and lights and all that stuff, and it's a lot of things, but we've been now in summer. Now we've got a show coming up on the 29th of February, and which I think you have one as well on that date, right?
When?
29th February.
No. Well, my next show is gonna be in May and October.
Oh, all right, my bad. Anyway, we have one on the 29th of February, and then we have our summer show, which is going to be our 5-year anniversary. I try to do only 3 big shows a year, because Malta is such a small country. I'd rather have less big shows and always sell out, rather than do like once a month and just have 100 people in the crowd, But since last year, we've also been doing a small monthly shows, either at the dojo or for a charity event, or like a convention, Comic-Con or tattoo convention, and all that stuff. So a lot more people are getting to know about us, and it is also a great more experience for my boys, because it gives them more opportunities to work in front of a crowd and locally,
Yeah.
But it's been a great ride. Crowds are always getting bigger, which is always important. The talent we're bringing over is always great. They all help out the boys as much as they can. So yeah, it's been going well. Thank you.
And how much does it affect to your in-ring perform, the fact that you are the promoter? Because in my case, the stress. The stress to put everything together. It came out when you are in the ring. It doesn't feel it during the day, but then when you step in the ring, it's like, oh man, I'm so exhausted. Like I'm tired even before start, because now all the stress, it comes out. And to me, man, it's always really painful and hard to wrestle in my own show. Also because I have all the pressure, beside the pressure of putting everything together, I also have the pressure that I'm the trainer, so my match has to always to be better than my student. I always have to prove something. I always have to to step up, and also I'm the hometown hero, because I have all the crowd behind me, so it's a lot of pressure, and sometimes it's not that easy. And how is it free?
Well, nowadays, by time, let's clear this. I see myself as a perfectionist, right? So, which I think you're the same, because everything during shows and setting up and everything, I want to know. I want to know what's going on. I want to be in control of everything. But by time I learned that it's a big toll to take. I can't keep up with everything, especially throughout the when the show starts. So by time I learned to give things to my guys. For example, setting up the ring, I leave it to one guy. Setting up the bar, the music, the lights, I split responsibilities to other guys people who've been with me for a while, and I know they're gonna give it all they got. So it takes a lot of the pressure from me, and then I just need to check with them. I don't need to run around. I don't need to run for so many people to check on so many stuff. So by the time I learned to do that, and now I just go there, make sure, see that everything is set up, see that everything is sorted, and I just chill and just enjoy the show and just go out there and have a good match.
Yeah, that's also a good strategy when you can trust people. Well, yeah, that's also, if you need to let them try. I mean, you need to trust them and see what's going on, and that's not always easy to do. But yeah, there's a lot of job for everybody out there that just come to see the show. There's a lot of job behind the show. Also, advertising, putting the poster, sell tickets. It's hard, and then
but postering and flyering out, it's really hard. And I know most of my guys don't like to do it. I don't like to do it, but it's part of paying your dues, and it's part of the work. If you don't advertise, you won't sell tickets, and if we don't sell tickets, we won't keep organizing events. It's a circle. Everything needs to be done.
I think that's I don't know if it's a generational problem or if it used to be like that also back in the days, but it seems like nowadays a lot of guys, they just think that you just come and do the show and everything will do it by itself. Like the ring will appear by itself. Tickets will be sold by themselves. Like they really don't understand how much work there's there to do, and you always have to tell them like 100 times, hey, did you do this, did you do that? And so I think I don't know if it's a generational thing. Maybe it was same back in the days. I should ask my parents. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, and so for everybody out there, if you're a fan, just a fan, and you have your local promotion, just
support. Go and watch the show, support them, but also ask if they need help. Maybe you can help them. Maybe just to put the chairs together after the show, or maybe you can help them to give away some flyers, some posters, or even just anything. Just share the event on Facebook. It's just a click away.
Exactly, because that's really important for us. Very small promotion. Like most of the promotion are not really big. It's such big, but big. I mean, when there's money behind, a lot of money behind, and So, if there's anything else that you would like to talk about your career in general or wrestling in general, you can go ahead and just say whatever you want to say. It's up to you.
Well, I'm not good with this stuff, just talking about. But no, mainly thing I want to say is again, which I mentioned before, is just for new and upcoming wrestlers, just have fun. You're living the dream. You're doing what you love, what you really like. Just enjoy it, have fun, make the most of it, stop complaining, stop bitching about stuff. Why are you bitching? I mean, you're doing what you like. Maybe the promoter is not, and is not doing what you have in mind, Maybe you're not getting booked where you want to be, but keep working hard, enjoy it, and things will come, you know.
Yeah, that's a good advice. Also, I can give an advice as well. It's important to train with the right people, and I always tell my students, I can teach you just up to certain level. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I can bring you from zero to this step, but if you wanna take the next
exactly.
step,
You need to go out there and
exactly.
go out there and travel around. Don't say, oh, because it's expensive and stuff. Yeah, but take it as a holiday. If I could go, if you're in Europe, go to America. Go spend a month there. Use it as a holiday, but as well, use it as a connection and wrestling and stuff. I don't see it as a waste of money. It's an investment in yourself and your career.
Exactly.
So,
It's like
yeah.
Is an investment, and there's in United States, for example, there's a lot of academy. Not every academy is good, but because there's some guys stealing money and doing bullshit. But there's many good. Like there's starting from the south, there's the Team 3D Academy, then also up in Georgia, there's the Ricky Morton Wrestling School. Then if you go on the left side, there's Booker T in Texas.
Yep, yeah, Booker. Yeah, I heard good things about that. I know a couple of guys which I met at a Harley Race seminar 2 years ago, 2 years or 3 years ago. 1, 2, no, it was 3 years ago. Which they are from Booker T, and they're really good guys, and good attitudes, great attitude, and great work in the ring as well.
Yeah, then Lance Storm just announces that he has no longer his academy because he's now...
it's a pity because I've only heard great things about there. So many guys have gone there, and they just really improved.
Yeah, well, he's not giving up because he's not giving up. Actually, it's just moving to the next step of his life, which is working for WWE. Actually, as far as I understood. So he's now he's still in the wrestling business and doing helping guys, and then going up in the north. There's also the Ken Anderson Academy.
Oh yeah, all right.
Also, if you go really up in the north in New York, there's the second branch of Team 3D Academy, because now Bob and Devon, they are in two separate locations. So
Devon, I didn't know that.
Devon's still in Florida, and I guess Billy Gunn sometimes show up to help him out. And in the north, there's near New Jersey, it's Baba and sometime Tommy Dreamer. They're now running the Team 3D Academy in the north part of the United States, and there's many around. You just need ask around.
Yeah, just go out there, and you can find anything on the internet nowadays, so just do your research, go out there, just send them a message. If they don't reply back, show up at the door. They will not send you away. If you're there, they'll be like, okay, sure, come and jump in the ring, then join us for a class, and just go out there and show what you got. If they don't like you, no problem. It doesn't mean it's never. It doesn't mean it means it's not now, So, but I'm sure you're gonna learn something from it, even if you just go out there.
And about your academy, what do you focus on when you train guys in in Malta, in your wrestling academy?
Well, it depends. First few weeks is just like rows, bumps, and running ropes, and just very, very basic stuff, body control. I don't teach crazy moves. I don't teach any moves at all. Apart from the basic stuff, but because that's not my job. And anyone can do moves, Anyone, not. If you want to do a splash, just get up there and you can do it. But that's not. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. My job is to teach you how to work, or how to be in the right place, or to be at the right place at the right time in the ring. Your emotions, your facial expressions, connections with the crowd, and emotions and psychology. That's my job, you know.
Yeah,
And
because
and that's something I focus a lot of this stuff. You know, a lot of the, you know, sometimes my boys come up to me like, you know, when we're watching a match, we go through it. For a match they did, for example, I'm giving them feedback, and afterwards they tell me, and what did you think about, I don't know, maybe that move. I'm not gonna mention the move, but anyway, what do you think about how did that move look? I'm like, I don't give a shit how the move looked. If it, you know, if you did it at the right point in the match, it made sense, and that's what matters, you know.
yeah,
If
exactly.
if stuff looks a bit what's the word? Not as smooth, maybe, if you know what I mean, in the ring. Sometimes it's actually better because it's not gymnastics. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm trying to
and
say? If something doesn't go well, and if you mess up a little bit what you had in mind, actually sometimes I see it as better because
yeah, because what really matter at the end of the day is is not what you do, is when you do it and it makes sense, you know. So it's not really about the moves at all, and that's something that took me time. It took me time to figure it out, you know, because when you first start wrestling, you jump around like a monkey, and then you finally realize, hey, that's now how it works. But you need somebody to tell you. And for me, like I said, with the Dudleys, they really, you know, they told me, you know, that you can do all the moves you want, but the wrestling is not about that. And so we start over and learn psychology and everything. So Gianni, to finish up the podcast, I would like to ask you to tell some crazy story that happened to you in professional wrestling. So whatever comes in your mind, just go ahead and tell some.
what can I say? Well, it's not really crazy, but something that really surprised me is, for example, in Japan when we're traveling with the coach, right? On the road from one venue to the other, like no one talks in the coach, and it's just sometimes you see maybe one of the foreigners come over, they're not used to it, they'll be like, you know, they want to talk, but they're like, oh, should I talk? Should I not? Yeah, I don't want to get like, you know, get the bad eye, or like, you know what I mean, the bad looks, because you're breaking the silence, you know, you're doing noise and stuff. So yeah, it was a bit awkward, but then you get used to it. But like maybe for example, yeah, actually the crazy story was 2 weeks ago in France. We're going back to Frankfurt to catch our flights back, and we got stopped by the police. There was a roadblock, and I don't know, there was something going on, and they just didn't let us pass through. It was like nine guys in this truck, and they kept us for like 4 hours
Wow.
in the police station, and we're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? I mean, I don't want to get, stay arrested in Germany. No one knew what was going on, because people are talking German, people are talking in French, and we're just there like, I don't know, we just gotta wait and see, and actually there were 6 Russians with us who they missed their flights on their way back to go back home. I got my flight just in time, luckily, but yeah, it was just weird. And then they just let us go, yeah, they came up to us like, okay, yeah, no, you're free to go. And we were like, okay, you're not gonna even tell us what happened. All right, no problem. We just rushed out there as quick as we could,
So you have been there for 5 hours.
4
No
hours.
idea why.
No idea why. Because people are talking French and German. We didn't know. I mean, well, at least, hopefully, we didn't get into trouble. I don't know. They did take some details for us, but they checked our passports and anything. Like a random check. But I think we didn't get into any trouble. Us, the passengers. I don't know about the driver, honestly.
Well, at least everything went well at the end. And when you got to Japan, was the culture different? Like, did you add any embarrassing moments with the contrast in the two culture, doing something that you're not supposed to do, stuff like that?
Actually, I did some research before that, because
Okay.
they have some habits, like for example, public transports, you need to be quiet, and for example, like you don't blow your nose in public, and there's a lot of like these little habits that maybe you're not used to them. Like for example, you're in a restaurant, you call the waiter, you shout to him, like excuse me, and just shout, and in Europe or the West that would be considered rude, so there are some things it's a bit not easy to get used to them, but then you just like you just when you're there, you become part of the culture and just embrace it and just be part of it,
And did you have any strange look in the city? You going around your big bear, black bear, and
well, actually, I usually hang out with Dylan James. He's a wrestler from New Zealand. We're together in all Japan, and he really took care of me when I was there, when I arrived there in the first time. So I thank him from here. But he's actually bigger than me, so people used to look at him, and I was just like the normal average person
next to him.
Yeah, I was like, okay, bro, no problem. You get the weird looks, no problem.
Awesome. So, Gianni, thank you very much for being at the European Wrestling Podcast. I invite everybody to check out and let the people know where they can find you: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, website, YouTube, wherever you have. Just how people can find you.
Well, Facebook page, my Instagram. I do have Twitter, but I don't use it as much. I'm trying to get into the game, Twitter game more. But yeah, just search Gianni Valletta. Valletta is LLT, and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.
Great. So thank you very much for being at the podcast. It was a pleasure, and maybe we can have a second part later, maybe next year or in 6 months, to see how your career has been progressed. And I wish you the best for your career in Europe and Japan, and let's see what's going on. So thank you very much for being here
today.
Thank
you, brother. Thank you.
European Wrestling Podcast.
I'm ᴠᴏᴜ Belthazar, and you can follow me on Twitter at @luca_rusconi. You can also follow me on Facebook on my profile ᴠᴏᴜ Belthazar, or my page, which is Belthazar Pro Wrestling. I'm also on Instagram, of course, and it's always ᴠᴏᴜ Belthazar. All the episodes are gonna be online on YouTube, and also available on my website, which is belthazar.com. And of course, if you are gonna share this episode, please use the hashtag European Wrestling Podcast. As well, if you have any question, again, hashtag European Wrestling Podcast. Thanks everybody again. I'll see you next week.